Okay, we can go.
Hello, Henry, Gerrit.
Hi, Elizabeth. Goed om jou te sien.
Ek sien uit. I'm looking forward to this celebration.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to everyone who is tuned in and who's taken the time to join us this afternoon for the 20-year celebration and the brand launch, the new brand launch, I should say, of Ultima Financial Planners. My name is Penny Ndlovu, and I will be your facilitator this afternoon. And so I cannot help but say that we are still in the new normal. Can you believe it? Living in unprecedented times, as some of the buzzwords are. But even though we are apart physically, thankfully we can still be together, not only to celebrate, but also be part of what I'm sure will be a very insightful session this afternoon. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. We are working on a time frame, so we are looking at keeping things short and sharp. Please do keep notes for any questions that you may have. There will be some time towards the end of a session for questions and answers. We are also doing a recording of this event, so thanks everyone for looking pretty this afternoon. But also trusting that there will be no technical challenges, and if there are, please do bear with us. We'll do our very best to get them fixed as quickly as possible. So just to make sure that everybody can hear me, and everybody is set to start. All right. So I think it's quite extraordinary that despite our global status, there are establishments who continue to hold their heads high and are able to reinvent themselves even in what may seem like unfavorable circumstances. And that is part of the reason that we are here this afternoon, to reflect on the journey that has brought the ideas and determination of a man who has set their sights, and men rather, who have set their sights on building an exceptional financial planning brand. And so to share a little bit about this journey and to give us a bit more context, I would like to invite founder of Ultima, Gerrit Viljoen, along with his wife, his lovely wife and business partner, Regina, to please join me. Hey there, Gerrit and Regina.
Thank you, Penny. And as is proper, I would let the ladies go first.
Well, first I must say, Gerrit and Regina, congratulations on 20 years. I mean, that's a full-grown child.
Thanks a lot, Penny. Yes, it definitely is, yeah.
Now, I'm sure, Regina, if you had to look back to the year 2000, you could have never imagined that in 2020 we would be living through a pandemic that would be so detrimental and change the financial and economic landscape, as it were. But if you could take us maybe back a little bit, what were the sort of things that you were thinking, that you were facing, that you were experiencing, that perhaps were the stepping stones to planning or building rather a financial planning institution, and then that have brought you to where you are today? Where did it all begin for you?
Penny, when we started, I wasn't really a businesswoman. I was more of a scientist, and I actually was pregnant with my first child, or my second child, and Gerrit decided the best thing to do was move his business to our house. So I was just thrown into it. And we didn't really think of what it will be like in 30 years or in 20 years time. We just went about and did what we had to do. So we had the office in our house for about 8 years, since 1992. And I just want to say that Hayla was our first secretary. And the way we recruited her was quite peculiar. I won't go into that now, but she is still with us. So it actually worked, and she's one of our best, the best that we could ask have ever asked for. And we're really so thankful to the Lord for her. And I think many of the clients will agree with that. And I see also a few of our clients here that's come a long way with us. And I thank you very much for coming along and for even joining us online. We would have liked to have some cake and maybe have something to drink, but we do the best we can. So in 2000, things just became busier and busier at home. So in 2000, I said, well, Gerrit, either I'm going to go or the office is going to go. So the office went, and he joined two partners, HO and Quibus in those days, and they bought Kariba Street 73, where we still have our offices.
Right.
And we had like a merger of 3 home offices. So none of us were schooled in business management or anything like that. They were, those days, they were called agents or brokers. And so, yeah, we did what we knew we had to do. And I just said to them, okay, while you're seeing clients, there's somebody that had to look after the office inside, because we have staff and we have bookkeeping and we have all kinds of other stuff. So that is, I just did what my hand could do, and where I could add value. So I think I'll give over to Gerrit now.
So Gerrit, you had a supportive wife and a dream, I would say.
Yeah, your question, thanks Penny, your question about what did we envisage or what did we see for the next 30 years, I can tell you one thing, we just wanted to get through the first year and then the second year and get to the 5th year, because we heard that all small businesses, 75% of them fail in the first 5 years. So we didn't have elaborate goals for 30 years. We just really wanted to get through the first 5 years. And in those days, things changed quite a lot in the financial services arena, because as Regina said, we started off a lot like agents or brokers selling insurance. But around about 1992, we branched off more into the retirement planning and investments. And also in 1999, we met up with a company called Access. They started off as IPAC. Many of our clients will still, or they still refer to Access as IPAC. And they taught us a lot in terms of business development as well as running a professional practice. So if it wasn't for them, we would have had many, many more problems than what we did encounter. And at this point, I just want to mention somebody I see is on the Zoom call as well, and that's Pierre van Zyl. And our name, Ultima, was given to us by him. We set out a little circular and we asked people to give us names. And Pierre, again, thank you so much. You were instrumental in where we are today. So yeah, so we saw that the industry changed quite a lot. And we really, as Regina said, we weren't trained like Henry, who's a CA, in running a business. So we had to do the best we can with the help of Access at that time and Andrew Bradley. And still unto today, we are very thankful of the inputs that they gave us and the help that they gave us. And they also brought the whole idea of inflation plus investment to South Africa. Today, if you go onto the websites of any of the other fund managers in South Africa, all of them sport the inflation plus investment programs. But it all started actually with IPAC, which came from Australia. They had that idea. So we were very fortunate to be the first to actually encounter that and embrace the inflation plus strategies. But along with that came a lot of compliance. And I think Regina can maybe refer to the compliance, because that also steered us into certain directions which we already were taken, but the compliance had a great effect on the business over time.
Okay, so after Gerrit, after we joined with Access, or we were one of their strategic partners. We introduced many of our clients to their offering, and it really made so much sense. We had these presentations weekly, and clients were introduced, and almost all of them converted their investments to the Access platform. In those days, it was very easy because there wasn't something that which we have today called capital gains tax, and it could be converted to another platform without paying that type of tax. The other legislation that was introduced was in 2001 when we had the FIC or FIC Act. If you go to the bank or you come here, we will ask you for your FICA documents. And so that was introduced in 2001 to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. And in 24, the FASE Act, which is Financial Advisors Intermediary Act, and we actually had to write exams. So many of the old men in the industry were complaining quite a lot because of this, and there were big fights going on, and they had to translate the act into Afrikaans, because many of the people on the rural areas said, no, we can't speak English, we want the act in Afrikaans. So there were all kinds of things happening, and people had to write exams. But we made a transition, and then in 26 there was something that they called treating clients or customers fairly. And I think this legislation, it transformed our industry. It also transformed us from a sales force to more professional financial planners. We have to follow process, and we have to do many disclosures. And I think that is a much fairer outcome or offering that we can give clients these days. And also to help them to understand what they're actually buying and what fees they are paying, because there's a lot of disclosures, and you would know you get packs of disclosures from us. We wish we can condense it even more, and we all the way we're trying to condense that without losing the clearness of that. Okay, Gerrit.
Well, I think in closing, I just want to mention that relationships have always been the core fundamental principle for us, having good relationships with our clients. And as you'll hear this afternoon, I don't know if Pete is on the call already, clients that have come for over 30 years. So for us, that's very, very important. But we also embrace technology. So we've always strived to be ahead regarding technology. Now, it's not always that easy for us as a smaller practice, but going forward, and Henry and Hester will talk more about that. But so for us, we're very thankful that we could have meaningful long-term relationships with our clients, although we also try to embrace technology. And yeah, I think going forward, you will see a lot more of that as we transition to the next Industry 4.0. I don't know if you know about that yet. So from my side, I just want to say thank you. And again, we wouldn't have been doing this if it wasn't for the Lord's grace that He gave upon us. So we're very thankful for that, and we're thankful for each and every client that stuck with us over the long time, more than 30 years, actually, some of them. So yeah, thanks very much for that.
I would just like to end off with one highlight. Over the years, as Gerrit comes from a background in Campus Crusade for Christ, we always had the question of how do you bring your faith into business? Because you don't want a lot of Bible verses or try and convince people we're such good Christians, but because we are Christian and because that is very important to us, how do you actually do that in business? And one of the highlights was for me last year when we had our first Flow conference, where things came together for me. We've got this vision that is on the painting in our bigger boardroom. where we feel that we are just an instrument or a pipe or an aqueduct, bringing water, refreshment, life to people, and that lots of things can flow from what we've been given and what we receive. And we really hope that many of you have received some of the life-giving influence that comes from us. And yeah, so that we also have our second Flow conference this year, and we also want to mention that. And if you get an invitation, please consider joining us in that. Thank you. Thank you for all of you, and thank you for coming with us for all of these years.
Well, thank you so much to the pair of you for sharing that with us, and also for being so bold in your faith. It definitely reflects in the business that you have established. So thank you so much for that. There is a quote that actually says, one has to respect the past, because if you don't know the past, you don't know where you're going. And so while we must also acknowledge and respect the past, we must also live in the moment and look forward to the future. And so with that said, I would like to ask Hester to join me. Not sure if I can see Hester, but if she's there. Hey there, Hester. So Hester is also a director at Ultima. Great to have you with us this afternoon, Hester. And you've been now part of Ultima for about 5 years, am I right?
Yes, this is my 6th year now.
6 years. So you've experienced a little bit of the old, and now you're branching into the new. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement around that.
Oh, there's a lot of excitement. It's very exciting, and it's so exciting for me to be able to share this with everybody today.
And so there's a new look, a new feel. The logo has been upgraded. What does all this newness represent?
Okay. Henry, are you sharing the logo for us to look at it while I talk? Okay. I will start talking. If Henry can share the logo, it will be much nicer if you can look at it as well. So let me start with the color. We've got this nice, fresh green color, and that represents growth and new beginnings. And then you will also see, don't worry if you can't, Henry, you will also see that the way the logo has been made, it looks like a little vine growing in the sundial. And that vine represents, it bears fruit, you know, and nourishment, and it also gives shade and comfort. Now, if you look at the sundial itself, the sundial is an instrument that's used to tell the time as the sun moves. So when clocks were invented initially, oh, thank you, Henry. Great. So there you can see the little vine and the shadow and everything.
Yes.
But when clocks were invented initially, they were quite unreliable. And people had to use this sundial as the accurate standard to reset their clocks when necessary. And in the same way, Ultima has become the accurate standard as we help our clients to position themselves for a meaningful life. And then lastly, if we look at the shadow that keeps on moving, that also ties in very nicely with the way we do planning for our clients, because we have to adjust the financial plans as our clients move through their different life stages and changing lifestyles.
So visually very appealing, and you know, we're starting to see the change of the brand. But what are clients looking forward to, Hester?
Well, we really hope and trust that Ultima will keep on growing and developing. But we really, you know, our mission remains the same. It won't change. Ultima will always be Ultima with our core values. And we will always try to help clients to have a meaningful life. So the qualities that represent our core mission and which we hope to carry, you know, into the next 20 years are accuracy, where we provide peace of mind for clients with our accurate work. Professionalism, we have qualified and experienced staff and planners. Then we are caring. We try to deliver a warm and caring message. And then our creativity. We are solution-driven and progressive.
Fantastic, Hester. But I do think that the website, people can go onto the website to check out all the newness and see what is coming up as well. So if you are joining us this afternoon, please feel free to do that. Anything else that you'd like to mention, Hester, just with regards to when we'll start seeing the effects of the changes and so on and so forth?
You can start looking for it immediately. We are phasing it in, but please go and look at the new exciting website that you have mentioned now. It's really something else. Very exciting. So yes, expect all these new things to come your way now.
Fantastic. So that is at ultimafp.co.za. All right. Thank you, Henry, for sharing with us. And while you get ready and moving into the future as well, one must acknowledge the changing world and identify key sustainabilities for brand relevance. And so that is what Henry is going to be chatting to us about, along with the Oaks representative, Flaps van der Merwe. So if I may ask you to take over, Henry.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you so much also from my side. Thank you so much for joining us. I've invited Flaps from the Oaks Collective, who has helped us a lot in developing the change in brand, to also share this afternoon. So Flaps, if you are able to share your presentation, and we can talk around the process of the change in logo and the change that we're going to implement or are implementing. Flaps. We are not hearing you. Are you still on the call?
Flaps, just unmute yourself.
I'm
Flaps.
unmuted. Well, lesson 101 in Zoom calling is unmute your mic. Hello, everybody. I will share the screen in a minute. Just very briefly, it was such an honor for us to be involved with Ultima in their whole metamorphosis and their new journey, or their new season, maybe I should say. And maybe just if I can say in 1 minute before I share the screen, Henry, just a part of our process, many people don't understand how hard you worked actually to get here. And for those who don't know, we sat in a workshop for 7 hours with the Ultima team and just saying, you've come 20 years, who are you today? And what's the identity of Ultima as we move forward? You know, what are you carrying inside your hearts as we move forward with Ultima? And what I'm going to show you now is all just a result of that exploration. And we're very excited and proud. So I will share my screen indeed. And as I share it, let's just let this PowerPoint presentation fire away. Just give me 1 moment, because now suddenly there you go. All right, so Henry, obviously, as we identified key parts of who you are and who Ultima is, the concept of time was a big concept, and we ended with the sundial as an image. But maybe you should just share your Ultima's reference or understanding of time and why it's important.
Thank you, Flaps. Yes, time is arguably the most valuable commodity of our age at the moment, and therefore you have to invest your time in meaningful pursuits. So a couple of things are important. Firstly, you are expecting a return on your time that you invest. If you steward your time well, also it will create capacity, which will without doubt help you to reach your goals. So Ultima therefore partners with our clients to enable them to have a meaningful life through working hard towards reaching these goals. And we've been successful in doing so for 20 years. We want to continue doing this, Flaps. So our time plays a very important part and a role in what we do.
All right, and then if you ever used a sundial, I can't say that I've actually used one, but I mean, we researched it, and as you heard just now, it always has to, the sundial always has to show true north in order to use it. And I love that, because you heard the story about the clocks and how showing north, it actually became an accurate standard. They actually had to manipulate the man-made thing, the handmade clock, because this this sundial showing north shows accurate time. So just say a bit more about the accurate standard and the concept of the accurate standard.
Yeah, Flaps, speaking about true north, I think there's two things also there that we've realized. And firstly, it is we draw our inspiration from God and trust that His blessing is upon the steps that we take. And that is sort of a true north pointer that gives us direction. But also when we speak to the true, it speaks to accuracy. And accuracy in our industry is hugely important to us. So we want to make sure that our clients know that we strive to be accurate. And when we do planning, then that the plan that's been presented or implemented for clients are actually very accurate.
Correct. And then also, of course, there is the sun. And without a sun, the sundial cannot operate. And if we look at the sun is just such a life-giving force. It's the sun gives life in a way. You know, plants need a sun to live. God has given us a sun to form part of our ecosystem, and the beauty and the radiance of the sun to us is an important, and to you is an important symbol, especially as you talk about a meaningful life.
Yes, Flaps. Again, it's very important for us that people have a financial plan in place. I think a lot of people like Andrew Bradley used to have the mission to have a financial plan in every individual's household or every household in the country. And we want to have that because we know that will then provide people with more meaning. And at the end of the day, enable people to have a meaningful life as the sun represents.
A bit later in the presentation, I will also show the color palette of the brand. But the color palette, the warmth in the yellow and in the green was very much influenced by the concept of the sun. Then, of course, there is the shadow. And people sometimes say, a person might say, my shadow is following me. You know, your shadow is sort of stuck to you. And I love that metaphor and that image. And you guys have this thing about a blueprint and a plan. And I know that with all your clients, you say, well, we're going to start with a plan. We can't start without a plan. And then ultimately your journey, as I understand, follows that plan, just like a shadow. Do you want to say more about that?
Yes, as Hester alluded to earlier as well, the shadow is so important because our value proposal is based on the implementing of a blueprint or a financial plan. And this plan is not a once-off thing. It's not a thing that you just do and that's it. It's something that needs to be revised. And there's an annual or a biannual or every second year a revision or a re-look at the plan that we do so often. So we walk the walk with our clients, and then also we want to keep them accountable, obviously, with the plans that has been implemented.
I love it. I love it. All right, so let's move on to the word Ultima, which is also associated with the word ultimate and the letter U. And there are two primary meanings that stand out for me when we say ultimate. The one is like a fundamental. You might say it's an ultimate truth that people are talking maybe in your space regarding financial planning, and in many other areas people might say an ultimate truth. It's a fundamental truth. And they'd also say, use the word ultimate when they say, Ultima Financial Planners, they're the ultimate in financial advice. You know, it's the utmost, it's the best, it's the best option you have. And I love those two concepts around the word ultimate and then Ultima. So the letter U is fundamental for us, and I'm going to show you where the letter U finds itself in the logo. But maybe you want to say one last word about that before I start showing some pictures.
I think we must pass the person that originally came up with the word Ultima, Espia. If he wants to comment on that, I'm not sure if he had that in mind, but yes, I agree fully with you that there's so much meaning.
I'm sure he didn't. Does he want to say something?
If you can unmute yourself.
Jump in.
It seems like he's not able to now, but yeah, we'll definitely find
We should
out.
ask him what he actually meant 20 years ago. All right. Okay, so Henry, I'm going to show you part of our process as we designed this, and it all It all started with a sketch. There you see a little scribble, and when our artists start working, they just scribble. But you'll notice there's a U inside that little sundial there. It's hidden there in the negative space. And as that developed, we started working with the concept of the sundial, and we tweaked that shadow a little bit to give some more depth. And then that became the logo when you look at it in black and white. But we needed to give it some color. So there's the color palette. You'll see, look at the warmth. And that's why I love this logo so much. I love the warmth, the radiation. And there you go. So there's the full color logo. And I'm going to show you some applications. And maybe your clients and your people who support you are all listening. If they want to, in the chat bar, maybe just say some things that they like or don't like, but I hope there's nothing like that. Things that you like, you want to tell us in the chat bar, that'll be great. So look at that business card. You'll sort of has a three-dimensional effect there of the sundial. And I'm just going to run through and show some images just so that people can see the application of the brand. Because a brand is ultimately much more than a logo. It's the whole visual language. It's the whole visual application. It's the tone of communication. And I'm sure most of them have already been on the website, but if you haven't been on the website, you should really go look, because it's all very grand. Have you done the car yet, Henry?
No, Flaps, I don't think we'll go that route.
One day. And these are just digital mock-ups, but I do believe the signage is up already. And if you want to see the real signage, you should go visit the office again.
Fabulous.
There you go. And then there's a video I know that we wanted to share. So we created a video explaining the whole Ultima service offering. It is in fact possible to explain what you guys do in 3 minutes. I should stop sharing, Henry.
Please, yes.
You can take over the share.
Invented, the sundial was the accurate standard when you needed to reset clocks that then easily lost time. In the same way, Ultima Financial Planners has become the accurate standard as we help our clients position themselves for a meaningful life. We want you to have a healthy life where you have financial peace of mind, a purposeful life where you are achieving your goals. And we wish for you a life lived to the full, enjoying that overseas holiday, that retirement home, and those special times with your kids. Ultima draws on our qualified and accredited team of planners and more than 30 years of combined experience in order to help you bridge that gap of uncertainty between your current priorities, circumstances and aspirations, and the full potential of your meaningful life. If you have clarity regarding your values and goals, a financial strategy, and a plan of execution, you will have the necessary sense of control and confidence to live a meaningful life. Every Ultima client is unique. Each one has different dreams, different circumstances, and different challenges. Therefore, Ultima does not apply a generic approach to empowering our clients, but devise tailored solutions for each individual. Now that you're starting to understand who we are, let's cast some light on how your financial journey might play out, and why this meeting may just be perfect timing for what you need right now. Let's imagine you dream of building a house, that perfect family home or villa by the sea, or perhaps your bushveld hideaway. Of course, you have learnt your lessons since those early days when you boldly declared, "Who needs an architect?" So this time, you draw on your trusted architect, who is qualified to draw up a plan that meets all legislative and practical requirements to craft your random collection of dream home wishes into a masterfully designed blueprint. This blueprint will guide every decision forward as your home gradually becomes a reality. Your architect then liaises with a team of experts on this journey forward. The QS who costs the project, the builder who actually builds the house, the engineer who signs it off, the interior decorator, the landscape architect, and they all work towards fulfilling a dream, navigated and held together by the architect and the blueprint he has created. You probably know where we are heading with this analogy. Your financial architect collaborates with asset managers, accountants, investment specialists, insurance agents, trust specialists, even psychologists and more to forge a way forward to actualize the dream embedded within the blueprint of your financial plan. Beware of the financial planner who does everything. You don't want an architect installing your plumbing. Many people do not plan. They accumulate bricks, cement, tiles, a kitchen sink for one day when they will start building. But when the day comes, they realize they don't have enough bricks. And the kitchen sink doesn't fit. This is why one of Ultima's essential requirements is to kickstart our client journey with a financial plan. A blueprint for the future with dreams and goals that point towards your meaningful life. Ultima's 20-year track record of long-term performance means your plan is in safe hands. Our financial planners are able to navigate our clients through difficult times and, as masters of their trade, know how to incorporate the right amount of risk for sustainable growth. Note that our planners are not brokers who are often unqualified, offering mostly insurance-based solutions, selling sales commissions, and generally linked to just one service provider. In fact, quite the opposite. Ultima's financial planners are CFP professionals who are paid a fixed salary and offer a variety of product solutions fit for your unique situation. The sundial was a predecessor to the clock, holding time in its hands. Tomorrow starts today. Ultima Financial Planners, your partner for life. Ultima is an authorized financial services provider.
Wow, that was an exceptional video. Thank you, Flaps and Henry. And I just have to make reference to the fact that there has been so much detail put behind the thought of reworking the brand and how it aligns to the values. And I'm sure this is something that you had in mind, especially for an upcoming generation of clients, right?
Absolutely, Penny, absolutely. You will also see on our website that we are, our messaging is also broken up into age groups, because it's very difficult to talk one language or one concept for someone that's close to retirement as opposed to a young person that's still accumulating towards retirement. So if you then enter as a young person, then the information that you'll see is more then related to the accumulation phase of financial planning, etc., whilst the person closer to retirement is then closer or more along the lines of what is important in retirement, how much do I need now, and how will my income work, all those type of things.
Absolutely. I think this generation is a bit of a tough one, you know, instant, you want to see what's happening. And so I think it's really wonderful to have that sort of, you know, on your platform, that sort of visual appeal as well to those who will be starting out financially. But I think we did want to check in with Gerrit as well on his thoughts with the brand that has been, just in terms of the colors that were used, what he thought maybe a few years ago he didn't. Was this part of something that you envisioned, Gerrit?
Penny, thank you. And again, I just want to thank Flaps and Henry and well the whole team that was involved in creating this. And I must say that we obviously thought about, you know, the future and going forward, but I never in my wildest dreams thought that we could have such a vibrant and in a sense with the same values that's very, very important to us, but going forward in encompassing all our values and our principles. And the new, I must say, the new website, I think, is going to be a hallmark going forward, as Henry said, that we can cater on the website for those three different sets of clients. Because when somebody enters a website, you would like, your own age group to be addressed, and this is exactly what happened. So yes, my wildest dreams have been surpassed by this. So again, yeah, I'm very, very thankful. I'm looking forward to what the future is holding, and I'm so excited, I can't tell you.
Wonderful. So it's a yes from Gerrit.
Yes.
Thank you, Gerrit. Just looking at the clock, we're slowly coming to very close to what would be the end of our time. And so as we move on, Gerrit, you mentioned that your clients have played a big part of the growth of Ultima. And so I think it's safe to say that not only do friends become family, but clients become family too. So yes, Gerrit?
Yes. No, I just want to acknowledge that. I said to Regina the other day, you don't find a lot of industries where you actually journey with somebody for up to 30, 35 years, because with some of the clients, we've started engaging with them when they retired, and some of them are close in their 70s, close to their 80s. So it's been such an honor for us to be able to do that, and they definitely have become friends of ours as well.
Well, just before we move on to chatting to a few of the clients, I see some messages coming through on the chat, just saying congratulations, and that the website is looking great. The colors are very vibrant. And I just want to remind those who are tuned in that you can hold on to some questions that you may have. We will have a little question and answer session before we come to the end of our session this afternoon. So I would just love for Hester to please join me again with three of the clients who are going to be sharing just a little bit of their experience with Ultima. It's Piet, Marietta, and Ali, if they are here with us.
Thank you, Penny. Okay, I'm going to start with Ali. Ali, are you there? Ali, are you with us? Or maybe just forgetting to unmute?
All right, let me just read some messages as you're getting your clients there, Hester. It's a message coming through from Elizabeth saying, journey of faithfulness, well done. Also from Mike Kutsia, who says the new logo looks great. It was Etienne and Teresa van Heerden who say that the logo is visually appealing and supports your values. Looks great. And just the last one from Johan Alles, who says, congratulations, well done, and best wishes for the future to all at Ultima.
Okay, so now I have not been able to locate Ali. I'm going to move on to Marita. Marita, is jy daar?
Ek is hier. Hallo Hester, kan jy my hoor? Kan jy my
Hallo
sien?
Marita. Baie dankie dat jy by ons aansluit vanmiddag, en spesiaal baie dankie dat jy dit op jou verjaarsdag doen. Baie geluk met jou verjaarsdag namens ons almal van Ultima. En baie welkom hier by ons.
Baie dankie en dankie vir my blomme, Hester.
Dit is 'n groot plesier, ons hoop jy geniet dit. Goed, Marita, kan jy vir my vertel, net so kortliks, hoe het jy by Ultima uitgekom?
Okay, my kollega Magdal het my na julle verwys, Magdal Matthee, ek dink sy en haar man is kliënte van julle. Sê vir my, is my volume reg?
As hy so 'n bietjie harder kan, sal dit gaaf wees, maar ons kan jou hoor.
Okay, is hy nou beter?
Ja.
You're sounding great. You're sounding good.
Okay, good. I know this is sort of...
Is it possible for English?
Yes,
or
I can speak English. That's good. I'm married to an
Thanks,
Englishman,
Marita.
so I have to learn to speak English. Yes, so my colleague Magdal referred me to you guys. I was very skeptical. I knew I actually needed a financial advisor because, over the years you accumulate money in your pension fund, and you actually have to have a plan, and I'm not an expert on this. And, I was sort of very skeptical about financial advisors because quite a few times I've met somebody and they tell me they're totally independent, and then I realized after a while, it's all very well as long as I just buy their Sanlam product, or, actually they don't want to look at investments for me. They only want to sell insurance. So I was very skeptical, and Machtel, referred me to you guys, and she's somebody, a colleague whose judgment I really trust, and I must say I wasn't disappointed in that. So yes, so I'm glad that she referred me to you.
Thank you, Marita. And then can you just tell us a little bit how the planning process helped you?
Okay, all right. What I appreciated from you that I didn't appreciate in the beginning is that in the beginning you gave me lots of forms to fill in, and you asked me lots of questions. And again, I was wondering, what on earth do you want to know about my husband's salary, or my will, or this or that, or about how many children I have, and so on. But then I quickly realized, how important it is for you to look at the bigger picture. Because I'm a systems thinker myself, and that's what I'm trying to teach my students at the university, and understanding the system and the context is very important. My finances cannot happen without, out of context of my family and my career and where I am in my career path, and what is my own value. There's so many contextual factors that have to be taken into account. So I appreciated that in the end, and that you are, when I see you for review interviews, you try to change in my life. But then I also could see the value of, looking at my entire bigger picture, where I am at the moment, where, as opposed, in contrast with where I want to go in the end, and the as is and the to be, and get the plan in place to help me from the as is to the to be. So, that made perfect sense to me. And I appreciate the holistic way in which you were looking at things, picking up little things like there's not enough cash in my estate, for example. I mean, I would never have thought about anything like that. So it's not just about investing my savings, it's also looking at my bigger picture, which I appreciated.
Thank you very much, Marita. We are going to excuse you now, because we know you really want to go and have a birthday party. So thank you so much for joining us.
Esther, Ali is back. He was dropped off the call, so he is back.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, Ali. It's nice to have you on the call with us. How are you doing? Still nothing. Don't worry, we'll keep trying until we find him. In the meantime, I'm going to move on to Piet. Piet, is jy daar?
Ja, ek is Esther. Goeiemiddag, kan jy my hoor?
Goeiemiddag, baie dankie dat jy by ons aangesluit het. Ek gooi so 'n bietjie Afrikaans hier tussenin vir julle, net so vir die lekkerte dat die ander ouens ook kan tuis voel. So ek gaan jou vraag vir jou in Afrikaans vra, en dan as jy nie omgee nie, kan jy ons in Engels antwoord as dit reg is met jou. So,
ja, ek het in Afrikaans voorberei. So wat ek wil doen is, I will, well, if they will just bear with me, I'll try to translate as I go ahead.
Dit is doodreg, net hoe jy gemaklik voel, hoor, dit is goed met ons. So, ons spot altyd en sê, Piet is ons oudste kliënt, en hy het my nou ook mooi daarop gewys, hy is nie regtig ons oudste kliënt nie, maar hy is die kliënt wat al die langste 'n pad saam met Ultima stap, en ons waardeer dit ontsettend baie. Piet, ek wonder, jy verwys ook baie gereeld kliënte na ons toe, wat ons net so waardeer. Kan jy dalk vir ons 'n bietjie meer vertel, hoekom jy gemaklik voel om dit te doen, en watter waarde dink jy kan ons toevoeg vir hierdie vriende van jou wat jy na ons toe verwys?
He said it's actually a question that I did not expect, and I did not prepare for it, but I'll just think on my feet. I must say that, and I don't really appreciate it, but I am not the most easiest client that one gets. And there are very few companies that stick with me for more than 5 years, I think. So for me to have stuck with Ultima for 28 years, I think is really remarkable. And it's because of that I'm very comfortable to refer clients to Ultima. And also because of my own history, but also the financial history of my late sister, who was 20 years older than me. And I always have that as a reference point, actually as a success story. So even when I start feeling uncomfortable and unsure, I will just remind myself of that history. And all of the values that were mentioned when we discussed the logo. You know, to be conscious of time, accuracy, the Ultima family. I think those are some of the main reasons why I'm quite comfortable to refer. Not only clients, but also my colleagues. It's mainly my colleagues that I'm referring to Ultima. And remember, I have to work with them. So I hear how Ultima treats them.
Thank you so much, Pete. Then the last question is, during your time with Ultima, you've had a wide variety of advice and plans from Gerrit. Can you maybe share one interesting thing that he advised you to do?
I actually thought quite thoroughly about this, because I went through my archives and many of these things were mentioned. You know, initially we started with individual transactions, unit trusts that we had to buy from the companies themselves. That was 8 years before Ultima was established. And there was a Standard Bank offshore account that Gerrit advised me to open, and I held it for 16 years. And then there was IPAC, Australia, and Access South Africa, and Access Offshore, and Allen Gray, and Klukas Gray, and Portfolio Metrics, Reg Solom, Swiss Quote, Orpvest, all those sort of things. And I mean, I've dealt with all of them. The moment you start feeling comfortable with the one, then Gerrit will come and say, "No, there's a new thing on the market now." And it's just my personality. And then I would say, "Let's try it." So everything in life is quite interesting to me. And it's also part of my philosophy that one has to try and make an event of all these opportunities. So one of the most interesting things that Gerrit advised to me was this investment opportunity in July 26 that he mentioned to me after he returned from a so-called due diligence visit to China. Now, I must say I had to go and look up what due diligence meant at that stage in the dictionary. So it was with this company, New Ventus Corporate Services. Sounds great. But there were two options. So it was shares in Greater China Beverage Holdings, and they were going to sell Virgin cool drinks to the Chinese, yes, Richard Branson. And then the other option was China Yellow Pages. And Gerrit was quite adamant that we should not invest more than $5,000. In those days, about 35,000 Rand in each of these. But in order to make it easy, I sort of decided, well, let's take let me take 50,000 Rand and invest that in each of those. So my first payment was made on the 2nd of August in 2006. And I bought 2,500 shares in Greater China Beverage Holdings. And this is now where the elephant comes in the room. A week after that, a certain Mr. James Oliphant called me from America, and he offered me for 35% more than the initial contribution. And listen carefully, 1,100% more shares in Greater China Beverage Holdings. And I actually convinced Gerrit that this was a bargain. And I did invest another sum of about 50,000. In some stage, the profit on paper was $70,000, which was actually great. But it was only later that we discovered that this was a proper scam. So in total, I lost about 160,000 Rand or $23,000 at that time. So you might ask, why am I sharing this sad story on this celebration today? Now, as an investor, I think it's quite exciting for us to take risks that work out. And we're quite prepared to do that. But on the other hand, we should not actually get cross with ourselves or our advisors if there are risks that do not work out, because that's in essence what risks mean. I'm actually angry with myself that I did not pay attention to Gerrit's advice of the maximum of $5,000 at the time. But I have some investment experience in China before Trump got crossed with them that I think very few of you have. And this whole journey of mine with Ultima, including this sort of bad experience in China, reminds me of a saying by Roy Bennett: be thankful for everything that happens in your life. It's all an experience. So with that, I just want to say congratulations to Ultima, Gerrit, Regina, Heila, and all the other staff who joined them since 1992. And I'm looking forward for the next 28 years of experience with the Ultima family, because that is actually what Ultima is to me. It's a family and not a business. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you very much for sharing the story.
Thanks,
with us.
Pete.
And the way you shared it, we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Esther, just listening to the interviews, I think it definitely speaks to that line that says people always remember how you make them feel. Okay, and so just thinking back to what it was, I think it was Marita who said she wasn't sure that she needed this and that. How important is client education? How can I say financial literacy, the education of financial literacy to your clients?
Penny, I think it's extremely important. We are partnering with our clients. We are not telling our clients, you should do this, you should do that. It's fine, and we appreciate the fact that we should always be the expert in the room, but it's always the client's finances, the client's lives that's influenced by whatever we say. So we have to partner in such a way that they are able to make 100% informed decisions all the way that we go. And because the financial sector or environment is so complex with all those different kinds of products and laws that applies, we have to focus on client education a lot. Otherwise, I don't think it's possible to make informed decisions and to be comfortable and to really have peace of mind and sleep at night. And that is what we aim for.
Well, I have to also agree with Marita that I've never signed more forms than I have at Ultima. So thank you for doing the hard work just for us to sign. Do we have Ali back with us? Do we have Ali back?
Yes, she's back. She must just unmute herself now.
Right, while she is busy doing that, just a few more messages that have come through for the Ultima team from Jenny saying, congratulations, a wonderful organization that looks after 3 generations in my family. My children were frog marched into Gerrit's office when they earned their first salary. Hi there, Ali.
Hi, Penny.
Thank you, Hester. You're welcome to go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, Ali, and welcome. I'm sorry you had some trouble, but we're so glad to have you with us now.
Oh,
and
thank
can
you.
you please tell us how you hear about Ultima and why did you decide to engage with us to assist you in your financial planning?
Oh, okay. So I think I joined the Ultima team in 2 years ago. Is it? Yeah, I think around 2 years ago. And yeah, I also first heard about Ultima from Impact Radio at first on a Wednesday. I think through that program that they usually have on around 6 p.m. if I'm not lying. Yeah. So it kind of like while I was listening to the guys, Henry, and I think also with Gerrit, as they were busy speaking, it kind of spoke to me, sort of like also gave me a reflection in terms of from my financial stance. And I sort of started listening to the guidelines from there. And I decided, why not, since what I see that a whole lot of things that they are saying there, it kind of speak to me. Why not just join them and see what they have to offer, what kind of assistance that they can give me. And I have to say, I was blown away with the first even meeting that I had with them. Yeah.
That's great. And can you tell us a little bit, when you started with your planning journey with Ultima, you had one very important goal, and that was to save enough money for your wedding. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. So yeah, I was on a journey, or if I can say, I was planning to get married sometime. Actually, now I'm married, but so I was planning to get married 2 years ago. And then I have to say, Ultima really helped me quite a lot, because there were some of the things that I never really put into plan, especially from a financial point of view, looking at it. But trust me, from the wife's side, she already knew what she wanted. And yeah, but then I have to say, with Henry, the planning and also like just opening up my eyes in terms of, rather don't just wait for the last minute where you might even end up having to do loans and all those kind of stuff. It's best to prepare before the day comes. So I will have to say that it has helped me a lot, and also with Henry showing me all the various ways that can help me to start saving, as in, yeah, so it really helped me quite a lot. It really helped me quite a lot. And especially when the day came and also the expenses that were involved at that time. So yeah, I think it I was really thankful that I actually spoke in time joined the Ultima team in time, in a way, so that they can also help me in order to be able to comprehensively save for that big event.
I'm glad, and I'm so glad it worked out for you and for your wife both. So Ali, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
That's it from me.
Penny, you are muted.
Sorry about that. Everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Hester. Thank you for those interviews, and thank you to the clients who have shared with us this afternoon. I also have to mention that I also know Ultima through Impact Radio, and I'd actually love to ask Gerrit how that platform, what kind of a reach has it had, and how important has community become to Ultima Financial Planners?
Thanks, Penny. I must say our initial, or the reason why we started off at Impact, was basically to provide people with sound financial advice, because some of the basic questions that we get through people coming to us and when people phone in is, how do I start a simple financial plan? So we thought, we were not there to attract clients. We were there to give basic financial advice, sound financial advice to the community at large. And I must say, we've been doing that now for, I think it's about 12 years. And it's very interesting that over the last 3 or 4 years, I think because of people listening for a long time, they've realized that, maybe we can trust these guys. And so yes, from that point of view, it's been an incredible journey for us to be able to offer advice to, I think there's about 45,000 listeners. I'm not sure about the listenership, but also to have met a lot of them, and also through the Flow conference, which you're going to have again, Regina mentioned, and Henry will also mention, where we've made contact face-to-face with a lot of those listeners. And just the fact that, yeah, a lot of them are clients of ours today. So that's been a huge, huge journey for us as well. So we're very thankful also to Impact Radio for the platform that they provided for us to provide the advice to the normal person in the street.
Thank you, Gerrit. And we are running a little bit over time, but we have had a few messages coming through on the chat line. But if anybody would like to pose a question, Henry, I'm sure they can also put it in the chat. Am I correct?
Yeah, people can also just unmute and ask if they want to.
All right. So if anybody would like to ask a question, now is the time. Don't hold back. But in the meantime, as mentioned, just a few messages of congratulations coming through. This one from Nick Wood saying, a great beginning for the next 20 years. Congratulations on the past 20 and looking forward to experiencing my interactions with the new Ultima. And also James also just congratulating you before he heads off. So if anybody would like to jump in and ask a question or make a remark, please do so. You're just welcome to unmute and go ahead.
Hi.
Don't be shy, not all at once.
I'm not shy at all. I did try and do a chat, and I see it hasn't come up, so I'll blame Fred, because I'm not the IT one for sending chats in on Zoom. But just to say in my chat, what I did do was to say lovely logo, clean, fresh, and very warm with those colors without it being over the top. Thank you, and congratulations from Fred and myself. You want to talk, Fred?
No, that's fine. Yeah, congrats from us on your birthday +9.
Yeah, and just to say, my big wish is that we'd met you many years before we did. And the person who sent us to you, I don't see her on the screen, Gerda Lightkoop.
Hey, sure, yeah.
Because they were client. I mean, I take it she's still a client of yours. Anyway,
yeah, she
is. I want to say, yeah, it was a godsend, direct from God, because of Gerda and her direct contact with God. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred and Lynn. Thanks for those kind words. Sure.
Anybody else who would like to jump in, please feel free to do so. Just unmute, and you're welcome to go ahead. We've got a message from Quibus, Mark Graaf, coming through saying congratulations with the 20-year milestone and also with the very striking and symbolic new logo. All of the best for the next 20 years. Thank you so much, Quibus.
Thanks, Quibus. Sure.
I know Gerrit and Regina for a very long time, actually since the 19s, late 1990s. And what I want to say is that I've observed you. I see the steadfastness of your walk with the Lord. I see your faithfulness. I see your involvement in the kingdom of God. And I see trustworthiness. And I think that is why that scripture in Jeremiah comes to my mind, where he says, I have a future for you and a hope. And I think what you have done is you have given many people future and hope. And for that, I believe the Lord commends you. And my prayer is that he will take you into the new generation with younger people that will come and take the reins probably in the next few years, and that the Lord will just continue to use you as a kingdom business.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Sure.
Right. I think if there's nobody else that would like to jump in, I think we're going to wrap it up for this afternoon. Thank you so much to those who have come through on the chat as well with your kind messages. And before I say goodbye, maybe some closing thoughts from you, Gerrit or Henry?
Thanks, Penny. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in for the journey with us over the last 20 and even longer years. And I'm really looking forward to what's lying ahead. I think we face quite challenging times now in our country, even worldwide. But I think just like we've had many of these occasions in the past, we will get through that. And I'm excited to journey with you still for the next maybe 20 years. I don't know how long I will last, but as long as I last, I will try and be there. Because I'm not working, I'm having great relationships with each and every one of you. So thank you very, very much. And thank you, Penny, for your input as well and everyone's contribution today.
Thank you, Gerrit. Henry?
Yes, from my side, I just want to also thank our founders, Gerrit and Regina. They have poured so much into the business. That it's been their lives for these 20 years. They've lived and breathed Ultima and also the purpose of helping people living a meaningful life and walking close to God, and everything Elizabeth said also, I resonate with that. And we just want to thank them and honor them also for the work they have done and what they've set up. They've set up a fantastic company, and it's a privilege for us, Esther and myself and the rest of the people, to work at Ultima. We really just wanted to say that as well. Thank you so much. We honor you. And we look forward to what the future holds.
Thank you so much to you, Henry, to you, Gerrit and Regina, to the team as well for this session. I have to also say that Ultima has been a part of my life, just as it has been a part of many of you who are tuned in and have really left some very heartwarming messages. And so that is how we are going to wrap it up this afternoon, celebrating 20 years with Ultima Financial Planners. Congratulations, team. And I just want to end off with the words of Warren Buffett, who said, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And so again, just a gratitude that we extend to Gerrit and Regina and for Ultima, just to say, may it continue to grow and may it continue to go from strength to strength. We look forward to what the future holds. And just a quick reminder as well that you can go and have a look at the new website. It is up at ultimafp.co.za. Otherwise, this session has been recorded, so you will have access to it. And you can rewatch it as many times as you like. So thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. My name is Penny Dlovu, and I hope that you'll have a wonderful afternoon further. Thank you for being a part of the session.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gerrit.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pauline. See you guys.
Thanks.
Dankie Gerrit, goed gaan.
Dankie, dankie. Mooi bly.